Hi there, Creative Tartanites. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Mona. How are you today? I thought I would come on and do my Friday live, my Friday fun live as per usual. I wasn't going to because I had done a live session yesterday, but as I didn't really get very far with the portrait, I thought it might be fun to go live again this evening and do some more of the portrait. Hi, Gail. Hi, Patty. Hi there. Hi, Ian Jackson. Hiya. I hope everybody's having a good day. Oh, Gail, you're making lunch. I hope it's something lovely. Now, for all those who know me really well, you'll know that I sometimes have some health issues. And I'm not feeling 100% right now, but I decided I really wanted to get some more painting done. So I've gone live, and I'm just wanting to pre-warn right up front. I've literally just started, Rachel. You haven't really missed anything. So I wanted to be transparent and upfront and say that, if I have to, I will end the stream because it may be that I'm starting to feel a little bit unwell and won't be able to carry on. But hopefully, fingers crossed that won't happen. So without further ado, I am. Hi, Linda. Hi there. I am just going to move the camera so I can get started. So Mona and anybody else who gets dizzy or sick when I move the camera, look away now. There we go. Now we're really close this time. Maybe I should move that back just a smidge. There we go. Now the camera's still moving just a little bit. Just still needing to adjust that just a little bit more. Right. I think that's as good as I am going to get it for the time being. Let me just move that over there. So you're not going to be missing much if I go off screen up the top there. So hi, Mark. Hello. Welcome. And welcome, Laura. Hi there. I thought I would, as I said, oh, sorry, I've just knocked the camera again. Oh. Don't you just hate when that happens, when your glass gets condensation on the outside and you put it on a mat and then you pick up the glass and the mat's stuck to the bottom of your glass and just before you can grab it, it falls. Oh, Rachel, have you got your decorations up already, have you? Right. Now, for those of you who weren't tuned into the live last night, I started this. There will be a link. I'm going to put a link in an iCard eventually. So for those who's watching on the replay, there should be a link comes in and you'll be able to put my teeth back in, click on it and go and see the first part of me actually getting to this stage. I kind of stopped partly because of time constraints and partly because I got to that point where naturally I would have stopped and taken a step back and not done anything further. So Linda says, can't stay too long. My dad will be back to help put up some Christmas decorations. Oh, cool. Right, so what I thought I might do in the first instance is really concentrate on the background. And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I've been thinking probably blues might be good in the background. So I have cerulean blue, I have phthalo blue and ultramarine blue, but I'm actually thinking maybe a combination of cerulean blue and maybe even some phthalo blue might be in order. So I have my Stays Wet palette ready, and I'm going to put some of my phthalo blue out. No, not my phthalo blue, that's my cerulean blue. And I will also put some phthalo blue out as well. So I've got some golden paint. Linda says, my mum decided on a picture for the portrait. It's of me, not my favourite, but she really loves it. Oh, that's nice. So will this be a present then for your mum when I paint next week for you? That would be nice. Oh, whoops. Oh dear, I'm now dropping paint everywhere. Right, I'm putting out some titanium white. So that's the titanium white going out now. And what was the other colour I was thinking about? Oh yes, this colour, which is it doesn't come up very well on here, but it's kind of like a really light like a pale. It's a pale green. It's sort of Hobbycraft's own acrylic paint. So I'm going to stick a little bit of that out in case I choose to use it. So there we go. That's that. Right. As always, I've got my Art Sherpa cat's tongue. This is the size 8 I'm going to start with because it's quite a large area. So I'm thinking I'm going to start off with the cerulean blue with plenty of white. So I'm just going to just start adding that to the canvas, well, to the paper. It's actually canvas paper. So all my American friends, did you have a good Thanksgiving yesterday? Linda says, yes, my dad is nuts about Christmas decorations and start lighting everything up the day after Thanksgiving. So he thinks I'm behind. Oh dear. I do love Christmas, but for me, my personal view for my own living area, for my own house, it's just a smidgen too early for me. But that's not to say that I'm against other people necessarily exercising their rights to do what they want in their own home. I do get a little frustrated when the shops put out Christmas decorations and it's not even, we've not even had Halloween. That's a little bit frustrating. But that's just more from a, you know, we've got other things before Christmas. Gail says, back to my lunch, won't be able to see chat for a while. That's okay, Gail. I really appreciate you popping by, and I'm sure you'll stop by later as well. So I'm just trying to, whoops, trying to get the colour in the background there. And as I've said many times before, this is really just the first layer. As you can see, it's rather dark, but that's okay. I can do what I need to do to it when I need to do it. Because I think it might be nice to kind of go a little bit darker down the bottom here. So kind of this area here might be nice to have it a little bit darker, and then gradually work it up. And what I may do is I may then add, maybe a bit of pink or purple or, something along those lines into the background. Hi, Nikki. Hiya, welcome. Yes, that's right, Mona. It is on the 22nd of December. Well remembered. Very well remembered. Now this is going to look a little bit harsh lines where I'm just filling in some colour, but when I go back over the hair and things, that will kind of. So I'm just going to add in just a little bit of this green just to see how that kind of pans out. That's quite nice. I might even add a bit more white just to vary the, just to give a bit of interest in the background. I'm just putting a little bit more of that dark back in, seeing as how I kind of took it out with some of that white earlier on. Because remember, although I'm changing the background, I am painting on paper, yes. I am painting on acrylic paper. It is A4 size, and I got it, it's Daler-Rowney, I think, is this particular make. So just getting into this, as you can see that it's kind of ended up going over things, but I'm just making sure that the white of the paper is covered by something. and I'm liking the texture that's going on in the background there. So we'll leave that for the time being. I might actually do just a little bit closer to the cloth here. There. And I probably will lighten it up a little bit more. It's looking very, very blue at the moment. It's less blue. It seems to be a lot darker in the camera than actually in real life. So please don't panic, which I'm sure you're not, because I'm sure you have watched me often enough to trust that I know what I'm doing. There we go. So that's me got at least a really good first layer done. Still got a lot of blue left on my palette, unfortunately. As you can see, there's quite a lot of paint still there, but hopefully with the Stays Wet, it will, funnily enough, it stay wet, and it won't get wasted. And then when I'm finished, I will use whatever paint is left over, and I will put it into one of my art journals so that it doesn't go to waste. Now, on the live yesterday, you may have heard me talking about the possibilities of maybe going for a smaller brush. Now, I have two other Art Sherpa brushes. Excuse me. I have a couple of brights here. So I got them size 2 and size 4. And they are what's called the bright. Now it's a flat, so it's straight across there, unlike the cat's tongue, which comes to a point. It's more pointy than the filbert. The filbert is rounded, but this is the cat's tongue. And I generally tend to use more of the cat's tongue, and even when I get to the point where I want to use a smaller brush, I sometimes just don't bother. But I think in this instance, I think I might try the size 2. I'm usually doing an adult's face, and I'm just wondering if maybe it might make things a little bit easier for me if I use a smaller brush. I may also use just a round, a small round. This is a sea white, and it's a size 2. It's not the best brush in the world, I have to say, but it's a smaller brush, and sometimes I will use it. So I'm just going to pop that to the side just in case I need it. I'm going to pop out some of my flesh colours now. That's the cadmium red light I've put out. I've just put out the aqua ultramarine blue, because that's the one that, when used with the burnt sienna, no, not the burnt sienna, the burnt umber, will make more of a black. It's a chromatic black. Okay, I've now managed to lose my, oh no, I found it. I found my burnt umber. And I'm thinking I might actually, as I did last night, I'll put out some of my quinacridone magenta as well. So that's that now out on the palette. So let's get started. Let's get back into this painting. Going to mix up a flesh colour. So that's a little bit of the red, a little bit of the yellow, some of the burnt umber, and loads of white. Okay, so obviously it's been a little while since I've been doing this, so it's so in other words, it's been last night since I was doing this, so this is definitely a reasonably good dark, so I'm going to block in the colour on her ear. Because there's still lots of white paper there. I'm going to bring it round her chin as well. And I'm also thinking that really, oh, just banged the oh, I've just completely lost my train of thought. I'm just going to put a little bit more colour here, because the shadow really comes down this side of the face. And if you don't mind, just bear with me a second, I'm going to check I've got a window open because it's a bit too warm in here. That's a little bit better. Sorry about that, guys. I'm really starting to feel a bit faint there. That's not helpful, is it? Particularly when I'm not feeling very well. So we've got that. We do have it a little bit lighter here, but not too light. Maybe a little bit pinker here, and the same kind of on this side as well. And there's maybe a bit more pink just on the chin here. So really, all I'm thinking about now is, again, back to the darks and the lights. So kind of establishing where the shadows are in relation to the background now, because the background is going to make her face shadows and lights look a lot different. So Just having a quick catch up with oh, hi Anjali. Hi Anjali. How are you doing? Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just the heat that I'm feeling a bit off just now. So I've opened a window, so I should be fine. Right. So there's a bit there, and then it's a little bit darker here. And then I'll get some of this lip put in as well, just under the nostrils. I'm just really trying to make sure that the white of the paper is covered. It's certainly much darker just in here. And then there's an even darker shadow that's coming round about here, and just at this bit here as well. So again, making sure that I'm getting the white of the paper this time round, but at the same time trying to be mindful of the shadows. And I will probably there's a lighter area just in there, and stays light along here and along here as well. Right, okay, so I'm thinking I'd quite like to get some more skin tones, but warm it up a little bit more with the quinacridone. So mixing in the quinacridone with this particular batch. Maybe adding a little bit more with the other red, the cad red, the cad light. And I'm really going to be going around and just putting in the lights, the darks again, and re-establishing. Because that light part that I put in for here really isn't light enough. So I'm lightening it up. And it's the same with this bit here as well. This bit is much lighter, as is this. So I'm just keeping changing and adding a little bit of a variation of the colours and things. I will probably lighten up. So there's a little bit of her ear that's being lit here, as well as here. But then there is a definite darker bit there and in here. And note how I never stay in the same place for too long. Oops, that's a bit too light. So that's starting to kind of give us just a little bit more sort of detail. I think I've maybe taken the shape of the ear out just a little bit, so let me see if I can re-establish the shape as well. So there we go, starting to kind of resemble a bit more of an ear again. Right, okay, so up here it's a bit more of a yellow tone to that highlight. Maybe that's a little bit too yellow though. But it really is about, you know, just experimenting and just trying it, and if it doesn't work out, you can lighten it, darken it, until you get it right. And sometimes when you've got more of a darker underneath, it helps to really establish that 3D, because then you end up getting the really good cheeks and things. That's not helpful. That's not quite as dark as I need it to be. So I'm really just, I'm backwards and forwards, never staying in the same place. That's now going a bit too dark again. Okay, we're getting there. Hopefully you can see that the face is starting to kind of take on that 3D. We've got the shadows down here as well. And the light is really hitting it here, so I'm really wanting to show that. But at the same time, there's also that darker area here that isn't quite as dark as the darkest. And so I'm wanting to get that in as well. So hopefully it's starting to take shape. Certainly a good shadow there. But that's going to be a lot darker than where our chin is, or rather on the upper part of our chin. So I will probably go back in there and mess about with this part too. Okay, so I'm taking a step back. That's looking not too bad. That's looking not too bad at all. Any questions? So Mona's saying I have a very hard time with skin tones to blend them. Thank you, Mona. It's Mona saying it's looking fab. Blending of skin tones. I mean, I guess it depends on the type of portraiture you're doing, because you don't necessarily always have to blend them. With the very loose styles, you can actually just leave in the brush strokes. There's no hard and fast rules. So I'm just going to there's a shape that's going on just here that carries on up to here and then round this one. It's slightly lighter on this side, but it definitely is there. So that is definitely darker on this side and then goes a lot lighter there. But then from there, it goes up there. Definitely a lot pinker in here. So I'd probably put that just a little bit too far out there. So I will come back in with a lighter, which it's obviously it's having a difficult time to go over that darker part. But it will eventually. And that definitely comes in there. And the darker definitely, if I can get it dark enough without being too dark, definitely comes down here a bit more. So it's really just, for me, it's probably a frustrating way for most people to paint, but I much prefer being able to paint like this. Now I'm going to switch to the smaller brush. Okay, so there seems to be a bit of a conversation going on about the best way to paint, how to learn to paint faces. I just have a hard time to get the skin look good with acrylics. It's not the easiest thing to get skin to look good with acrylics, but it's really it's really helpful to just keep going. I think sometimes we forget just how many layers it actually requires for acrylics. And it does take practice, but equally I think we need to acknowledge that it's not the easiest thing to do for those who find it difficult to do. So I'm just putting in this dark bit here again. Because it's needed, because I can see white bits. And the same here as well. I'm going to establish just where everything joins and meets up. And that's here. Okay. Here we go. Okay, we're starting to get kind of strange shapes going on here. but that's okay. I will fix that. I don't think I've actually been working on that particular area. And I'm also thinking that I'm wanting to go back to the background and lighten it up a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to my big brush. Sorry, there's a message. Who's got the message? Kaylee. Right, Kaylee, what was your message? Let me scroll. David, Sean, and Eva Rose are saying hello, Grandma. Hi guys. Love you lots. Mwah. Oops. Yeah, the trouble is that I need my glasses on to see, and if I take my glasses off, the writing's too small to see, and if I've got my glasses on, I'm too far away from my glasses to be effective, and the writing, or the typing ends up looking really, really seriously ends up looking blurred. That was the word I was looking for. Ends up looking blurred. Right, so I'm lightening it up. And hopefully that will help a little bit. I've just spotted a white bit, not a white bit, as in a paper, a white bit. There we go. That's not bad. Quite liking that. Just adding a little bit more blue just down here because I've just spotted another white area, which is not helpful. And I'll maybe add a little bit more blue even if I'm going into the hair, because I can always change that. Okay, so that's that. That's us getting not too bad with the background. So Mona says back in a few. No problem. We'll see when you get back, Mona. It's going to be an HDMI one too, which I guess helps. Okay, I've obviously missed half that conversation. Oh, getting a larger monitor screen. All right, okay. Yeah, my screen, when I'm sitting at my desk, is just the right distance away from me. It's when I'm sitting at the other desk that it becomes a problem. So, right now, I'm thinking that maybe getting back to the nose might be helpful. Maybe even the eyes, and probably re-establishing the shape here. So I'm just going to mix some more flesh tone. And the one thing I will say is that for flesh tones, there is no right and wrong. There is no fixed mix. There's your basic skin tones that are kind of one size fit all type skin tones, but for realism, for getting people's proper skin tones, that's not strictly true. No one person's skin tone is the same. Some can look pinker, some can look yellower, you know, it really depends. Some can look darker, some can look lighter. You can get things reflecting off, so you could end up with you know, you could end up with like green tones in there and all sorts. So try not to make the assumption that all skin tones are the same. Okay. Just, sorry, I'm just concentrating now. I'll be with you right in a second. I am just concentrating on getting this line put back in. Because she's got her cheek and then she's got her hair. So her hair is here. And that's her cheek at the other side of it. So there's a real contrast. So we've got the darker bit and we've got the lighter bit. So the darker bit is really her hair. And it actually, it comes out a little bit more so it comes actually out here a little bit more. So it's coming out down here, actually covering this bit here. So starting to get there. Oh, hi, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie. It is starting to get there. There's been a lot of toing and froing, and there will still be more toing and froing. It's not It's not something that's going to, oh, excuse me, my dinner repeating on me. There we go. I'll see about getting some of these. These stray hairs that kind of like to just come out of the head like so. That's your typical head of hair, isn't it? I'm sure we've all had hair like that. And I think as well, sometimes the face might look a bit off until the actual eyes. Mona, Mona says Tanya has. That's okay, Kaylee. You're going to get your dinner. That's fine. Thank you for popping by, though. And my love to the kids. So Tanya has inspired me to try and do a self-portrait. But I rather make a portrait of myself if I mess up badly than someone else's portrait. Well, that's a very good point, Mona. That's a very, very good point. So I know this is very random, but I was saying earlier on about moving around. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Is I'm moving around the canvas. Don't stay in the one spot very long at all. So there we go. Really want to lighten up down here as well, and there, as well as there. Okay. I think I might also try a different shade just at the edge of that shadow there. Because it's there we go. I think that's maybe a little bit better. Again, I'll go back to, but different artists will kind of show you different techniques, and I like to jump about the page. I always have done. I remember, I'll tell you a story. I may have told this story once before, but I did art when I was at school, and I was in art class, and the art teacher came round and was saying, um, "You're you're doing that wrong. This is the way you need to be doing it." Blah blah blah, and they proceeded to show me. Um, then the art teacher went away and left me to my own devices. And funnily enough, I didn't do the way that they showed me to do, um, because I didn't want to. And so they then came back later on and said, "Oh, um, that's really nice. Don't you see? Doesn't that make a big difference to you doing it the way I showed you?" I didn't say anything. I just kept quiet, just kept silent. But it just goes to show you that, you know, just because somebody shows you their way, that doesn't mean to say that it's the right way. Because I still ended up with a good painting, or the art teacher wouldn't have said, "Oh, see, that's the right way to do it, isn't it?" Debbie says, "I'm hanging onto my son's arm. He's 6 feet tall. I think he'll block the doors for me." Yeah, I have to say I'm not keen on going out on Black Friday either. I just stayed in today. I find, apart from anything else, I just find there's too many crowds. There's, um, you know, too many rude people. It's not helpful. It's not helpful at all. So sorry, I'm concentrating again. And when I concentrate, I go quiet. You're probably thinking, "Yay, she's quiet." I don't know what it's like over in the States, but here in the UK, the so-called Black Friday sales they're rubbish. It's just a sham. It's just to try and entice us to buy things for Christmas. They go, "Great Black Friday sales," and then you're lucky if you get a tenner off. And it still costs a couple of £100. Oh, whoop to do. So I got a tenner off. Wow. So I'm afraid I'm a bit bah humbug when it comes to I'm a little bit bah humbug when it comes to the sales. I am really, really, really not into them at all or whatsoever. Um, I really don't think that we get a fair deal. I really don't. Right. There we go. I think we're getting there. Okay, right. We're getting there, we're getting there. So you're seeing firsthand the kind of work that goes into a portrait. Oops. And if you're an artist yourself and you've done your own portraits, then you'll know yourself just how much work goes into portraits. And people wonder why we get annoyed when they want us to do these for free. Now, don't get me wrong, I like doing this kind of thing, you know, as a giveaway and things. I do enjoy doing that because I know the value of it. I'm just not so sure that other people do. I mean, I'm sure that there are plenty of people out there that do, but I think equally there's a lot of people out there who don't. Right, I'm just trying to thin that dark line that I've put in just here. And you've probably seen my head actually now that I think about it. Linda says, I just like it to not be too cold. Jess, Ian's saying that keep telling everyone that we should all hibernate till it's spring, much more productive. Well, do you know, I'm going to throw a spanner in this conversation and say I love the winter. I actually really like the winter. I don't mind. I mean, I don't like being too cold, but I quite like, you know, getting all my winter stuff out and wearing my winter clothes. I'm a bit of a weirdo that way. Right. Okay. If it's below 70, it's too cold for me. I have no idea what that is in Celsius. I have no idea. Right. Okay. So now, actually, I might just use some of this phthalo blue. To put in these dark eyes. Because it will get another layer. I just need it. Just need it put in. Do you want to see my palette? You can see where I've done all the different mixes. I mean, is it helpful watching me paint and learning things? Do you learn stuff from what I'm doing? Is it useful? I've just decided to add just a bit more light colour. In fact, I'm going to add quite a bit more light colour. I need my bigger brush. See, told you. This is the way I paint, and this is the way I enjoy painting. It's just the way I am. And I think that's fine. Really, everybody finds their own way of painting. So yeah, okay, so Linda, you're looking for helpful to know what colours you're using. Okay, are you talking what I'm mixing together, or just what I, what the base colours are that I actually use on my palette? Ian says, I'm sure they're learning a lot. Just look at the layers of tonal value you're adding. So I'm just going in with a really light flesh colour in the eye, because as I've said on numerous occasions, the whites of the eyes are not white. Whoops, sorry, that was a rather loud crash as I desperately stopped the palette from falling over. Right. Okay, so as you can see, it really does start to make a difference when you start to put some of the features in and things. So right, so Linda's saying yes, the colours on the face and what you're mixing on the face. Okay, so just to kind of recap some of the colours that I've been using. There's my palette. I've got quinacridone red, cadmium red light, burnt umber, Hansa yellow, and put my teeth back in, titanium white. Now for the darker colours, I've been using a lot of the red, the yellow, the burnt umber with the white to tone it down. And for some of these warmer colours here, I've been adding a little bit more of a quinacridone red into the mix as well. So that's kind of giving us the kind of redder tones here and here. And up here, there's on the forehead, it's more kind of yellow. Some of that is the reflection, because the photograph is taken in a house, so the kind of yellow is more of the probably the light, the type of light. So I've kind of sort of added that in by using a little bit more of the yellow into the mix. Now I know that's not as I was doing it, but hopefully that kind of gives you at least a little bit of understanding. So my darker tones, they're more sort of towards the burnt umber. What's the word I was looking for? More burnt umber dominant. Really giving that kind of really dark brown. The mid tones, you're probably less or more white in with it. Sometimes I will use a burnt sienna as well, but I haven't used that as yet. So as I say, I know that's not really doing it as I've gone, but I will certainly try and remember that for future. If I'm really looking for a really darker, I will add a little bit more, a little bit of ultramarine blue if I'm really looking for a really darker tone. So in here is really dark, and up here is a lot darker as well. So if I'm looking for it to be even darker, I will use the ultramarine blue. I won't use necessarily the phthalo blue or the cerulean blue, because that tends to kind of end up turning a little bit more green. So that's why I don't tend to use the phthalo blue to darken things, unless I don't mind that green tint to the colour mix. So I hope that has helped some. Right. Just very aware that I've got quite a harsh line here, and it's not really that harsh. So I'm just softening it a little bit by going in with some burnt umber and a little bit of quinacridone red, actually. So just giving just again a little different colour, and it kind of warms it up a little bit. So yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. I'm quite pleased with how it's going so far. There are still things I still need to really get better. So the eyebrows, for example, the eyebrows aren't in. I really need to make sure that the tone here is dark, but not so dark as the eyebrows. And over here on the photograph, her eyebrows are actually almost invisible. It's really difficult to see on the photograph. Debbie's saying, thank you, Tanya, great info on the skin tones. Fantastic, I'm so glad. The problem is, one of the reasons why I don't tend to shout out what I'm doing is because it kind of changes all the time. I really do I wonder if maybe when I eventually get it set up that I can use, I've got more than one camera, but unfortunately, up the stairs, my internet connection, I can't hardwire into the hub. The hub is downstairs. And to be able to use OBS, which is the software to be able to have the two cameras, it doesn't really let me. It's not. It's not a good enough signal. And so it starts to buffer, and there's not, YouTube just goes, nah, that just isn't, it's a rubbish signal, we're not going to broadcast. So I can't do the multi cameras at this moment in time. However, I do have plans to change that. I figured out that if I was to get extension cable, I can bring the hub to the hall up the top of the stairs, and then I should be able to get a cable from the hub to my computer, rather than trying to get a cable from the hub all the way up to my computer. That would be too long a cable. Whereas I can, when I'm needing to do a live, I will just move the hub to the top of the stairs, and then I will have a shorter cable from the stairs through into the bedroom. Ian, it's nothing to do with the bandwidth. Unfortunately, I do have bandwidth enough for going live. What it is the OBS doesn't work unless it's hardwired. I have done a shed load of research, and I wish it was that simple, Ian. I really do, but it's not. The OBS, when you start using different cameras and things, it just needs to be hardwired. Unless you're meaning the actual Wi-Fi signal as opposed to the bandwidth of the internet that I have, if that makes sense. That could be what you're talking about, and I've picked it up wrong. Whoops. So that would make sense, because the signal that is going out of the computer is going to be much greater than, like, for example, at the moment I'm doing it on the computer upstairs, and I've got one camera and it's absolutely fine. So the signal that's coming out of the computer is not that complex, but when you start having more than one camera, it becomes more complex. And so yeah, that's probably that's actually probably more to the point. That's probably exactly what it is. I thought you meant my actual Wi-Fi itself. So my apologies. I've kind of misunderstood that particular statement. So back to the portrait. Linda's asking, what kind of camera do I have? Well, I have several different cameras. The one I'm using at the moment is what is it? It's a Logitech. I can't remember which one, but it is a Logitech. And it's just a webcam. It's a high definition webcam, and it is really, really good. I really like it. It works really very well. Just adding a bit more color here, because this is where her hair is. Right. What do I want to do next? I want to try a little bit of a peachy color. It's a bit too pink. Ooh, that's a better peachy colour. So this peachy colour here, I've done a little bit of the cad red with some of the yellow. It was looking a bit too orange, so I added a little bit of the quinacridone, ended up being too pink, so I added a bit more cad red and some titanium white. Still a little bit peachy, but sorry, a little bit pinky, but I quite like that. So I'm just going to add that here because this is her. I can't quite fathom out if it's a bauble or what type of a hair thing it is. But there we go. So I've just added a little bit of burnt umber into the mix, just to darken it, so that I can have this dark area here, because that's where the shadow is. So there. And there is also a little bit more of a dark area just in here as well. So there. That's a bit more of our bauble done. I think I'll leave the face again for the time being, and I think I will go back to I'll go back to her dress, I think, or her top. I can't remember if it was a dress or a top. It might have been a top. She might have been like wearing leggings and a top. Because I like to leave the details for last. Okay. It's a soft, flowery hair tie. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. That's helpful to know. That's definitely helpful to know. I've just spied a white bit that isn't, if I try and put the ear in, it's going to go into the, so it's actually on the other side of the ear, if you know what I mean. It's the back of the ear. There, that's better. Got it. Got it, got it, got it. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to her top. So I'm going to pick up my oh, I'm not getting my words out tonight. I don't know what. I really don't know what's wrong with me tonight. Emin and Emin and Emin. Uh, Yeah, webcams are actually really helpful. There we go. Now, um, this is where I'd like to make sure that I don't lose the folds and things of the sleeve. So I'm going to um, kind of grey it out a bit so that it's darker underneath. In fact, I'm going to do that with the bigger brush. I'm going to leave that for the time being and go back to what I was doing. See, this is what I do. This is what I always end up doing. Is I'll get distracted by something that I think, oh, I'll do that just now, and it's not always not always the best thing to do. Um, so who else does that? Who else can get distracted? Debbie says, "Oh, the pressure we put on you." Thorny says, "Oh, hi, Thorny. Hello." Thorny says all the time. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Glad I'm not the only one. Right. So there's quite a bit of light at the front here. So that's quite light here. But then there's definitely oops. It's a bit darker up at the collar. So I've just spied some more kind of white area. Some of it is the skin, but I'm just tackling. There we go. Right, I'm not sure that I like the blue at the back, but maybe that's because of the blue tape. What's your thoughts, guys? Are you liking the blue as a background? What about you, Debbie? Are you liking the blue? Thorny. Linda says easily distracted. Gail says all the time. All right, no problem, Debbie. So Mona's liking the blue. Debbie says that she'll be back. All right, okay. I think this is probably one of those things where I probably feel a lot better the following day about something when I've actually stepped away from it, because I'm literally now where's the camera? There's right. I'm literally this far away from the canvas. Do you know what I mean? It's so I'm maybe a brush and a half away from the canvas. And so I'm probably just a little bit too kind of immersed in it. So I'm not really sure whether I like the blue or not. And maybe because this isn't quite finished yet, maybe that's another reason why. So I'm going to swap the brushes again. I'm going to go back to my number 4 Art Sherpa Cat's Tongue. And you know, one of these days I will actually do the review that I keep meaning to do for the brushes. In my reflection in 2000 and the end of 2017, going into 2018, I had said that, you know, I have these brushes and I was going to review them, and that was going to be coming up soon, and it's now almost 2019 and I still haven't actually done it. On the plus side, when I do the review, at least I'll be able to tell you I've been using them for a while. um, is it competing with the foreground with regards to sharpness? Maybe softening it up a bit. No, I'm not sure what it is, Ian. I'm going to finish off the rest of it and decide what it is that I'm not liking about it. Because I think there is a good contrast between the dark here and the light of her dress. So I like that part. I'm just not sure about the actual tone of the blue, the actual hue, you know, the actual color of it. I don't know if it's because it's the phthalo or whether I need to have it more of the royal blue or the ultramarine blue rather. But I will kind of live with it for a little while, and I will see. Maybe what I'm really needing to do is just get some of the colours from her into the background. That might also help as well, just to kind of really tie it in. Linda says, I have to go now. My dad is back to finish the decorations. I'm totally loving this. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Linda, and enjoy putting up the Christmas decorations. Oh, somebody's chucking out some bottles outside. Right. Okay, so back to the face. I probably wasn't actually heading back to the face, but never mind. I'm starting to make the color now, so right. I'm really wanting to kind of change a little bit of the kind of shadow that's here. because what I want to do is I want to actually get in and lighten up just a small part of that. Oh, that's too light now. So I've mixed up a bit more of a warmer tone with the quinacridone and the burnt umber with some of the white. And I just want to, there is a little part here and here. And I'm just going to just add this here again, because there is a definite sort of curve under the nose there. So, and once I sort of put in the nostrils again, then that will kind of re-establish her nose. So I think, seeing as how I'm at the nose, I'm going to get this, excuse me, the smaller brush, and I'm going to get some of the ultramarine blue and the burnt umber and get some of the dark colour on my brush, and I'm going to re-establish the nostrils here. I'm not that keen on this brush at all, but it's better than nothing. So that's kind of sort of re-establishing some of her nostrils. Oops! That really should have been against the back wall anyway, so that's what happens. Right, so her nostril comes over this way a bit more, and as you can see, this brush really doesn't want to give up its paint, which is total pain in the butt, but it is what it is. So yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, there we go. There we are. There. Yeah, it's a little bit better. That's kind of sort of re-establishing her nostrils a bit. So Mona says, I often like greyish blue in the background. Thorny says, I also always dreamed of being good enough to paint like this. Oh, Thorny, I think, first of all, thank you for the compliment, but you know, there's nothing to stop you achieving your dream. You know, I can show you a painting, you know, one of my first watercolor paintings that would, you know, it makes me cringe to see it. I can't believe that I was that bad. But at the time, you know, it was an achievement. So, you know, there is nothing there's nothing stopping you from, you know, improving. But thank you. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Um, Honestly, I really, really do appreciate it. So I'm just getting rid of that harshness. And I'm going to think about how on earth I am going to get the darkness under here. That's probably a bit too dark. So that's a little bit better. So you can see it's more of a grey. That's under here. And then I'm going to add more of the sort of green in. And hopefully that will give the illusion that that is actually under side of the garment. Could probably do with darkening it up just a little bit more, but that's okay for a first pass. And now I'm kind of running out of burnt umber. So I'm probably going to have to put more out, but in the meantime, I'm just going to put in what I do have here because that is dark underneath that part. So we've got that part there. Then there's a bit of a dip here. So that is probably going to require some shadow there. And then I think there's a bit there. And then there is most definitely a bit of a highlight there. So that's that. I'll maybe add a little bit of the ultramarine to the green. So that's kind of sort of darkening it. And I'm going to kind of put in a bit of a line there, and I'll probably soften it again, maybe with greying it a little bit. And doing that. There we go. And then again, probably going over it just like that. There. So that's kind of starting to look a little bit more like that's kind of flapping over, isn't it? I hope. I hope, I hope, I hope. And there is a definite there's a definite highlight that comes there. I may have to add that again at a later date, just kind of re-establish it, but it's kind of getting there. I think so anyway. Maybe add in just a little bit more darkness here. There. How's it looking? That's getting there. Oh, now actually I know why that's a strange shape, because that actually comes up off there. That's why. There. That's better. That's why it looked a funny shape. Oh, hi, Angie. Welcome. Mona's saying, let me read Mona's message. I'm so out of painting. I did not paint for months after Dad's passing, and I finally did 3 paintings, but now I'm stuck again. So I do not paint regularly. It can take a while to get back into the swing of things, Mona. Don't be too hard on yourself. I think sometimes we kind of expect us to, it's kind of like a runner can't just get back to running marathons again if they've had a lot of time off. And I think sometimes we have a tendency to really kind of be too hard on ourselves. So please, oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. My dinner repeating on me. Please try not to be too hard on yourself, because I think that's what we kind of have a tendency to do as human beings, and particularly as artists. So now I've been on for almost 2 hours. Now that is a lot of time to be painting in any one go, and I can tell you I am no art Sherpa. She is far superior to me. So I hope you guys don't mind, but I am going to leave it there. I am just going to give my paints just a little bit of a spray and hope that they will stay wet to allow me to sort of turn the camera around and have a quick chat with you guys and see if there's any questions that you have with what you've just seen, etc. And then once I'm done, I will be able to use the paints. So Angeli, I'm so thrilled that you have been able to be here. I'm just going to turn the camera around so that I'm actually on camera. Are you heading to bed? I'm trying to remember. Or are you up? Are you just up? Okay, so sorry for the camera movement. I'm going to take it back a little bit to give you the kind of distance. Oh, the distance view. So there's the distance view. So you can see what a difference it makes. I've just put it in sort of closer to let you see the really close up. So there's a really close up, and then you can see the difference. So I'm just reminding you that I'm just going to pop the camera around. So excuse me, close your eyes. Oops. Right, I'm saying that not so that everybody says, oh, but it's really good, da, 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 da. I'm saying that to remind you, because I think it's important that people remember to step back from the canvas. When I show the close up, and I point out just how you know, it's not tight and detailed, it's not because I'm criticizing the painting for that. It's really about showing you that it's possible to have something that isn't absolutely spot on, that when you take a step back and you look at it, you're actually you can actually then take in the whole picture. Because as artists, when we paint, we paint, we're quite close, and we have to take that step back. And I think that's really important, because as I said to everybody last night, when we're learning how to paint, it's important to learn techniques and learn, you know, how to mix colors and learn how not to, you know, what mixing makes mud, blah blah blah. But then it's also important, in fact, even more important, as far as I'm concerned, for the right attitude, and to not necessarily, you know, give up. Because it's getting to a point where you think that you're just not doing it, when actually you are. You just need to take a step back from the canvas. Ellie for Dreams, thank you so much. I really do appreciate all these positive comments. And you know, as good as my portraits are at the moment, I'm still striving to evolve and to improve and to you know, attain my own personal goals. So yeah, so Anjali, you couldn't sleep, so you're going to go back to bed soon and try again. Oh, well, good luck, because you will need it, with the Anjali. By the way, I have to tell everybody, Anjali is my #1 fan, and the reason she is my #1 fan is because Anjali is my friend who actually encouraged me to start my YouTube channel, and she has been there since day dot. So she's been there since ground zero, so to speak. So Anjali is my #1 fan. So I'm absolutely thrilled to bits that she has been able to come and check out my live for a change, because she's in Australia, and it's very difficult for her to catch my lives. So that has been absolutely awesome. So Mona says, I would have for sure given up a long time ago with this portrait, because I am my worst critic. Your painting is awesome, Tanya. I meant if I would have done this. I know exactly what you mean. So I'm just going to tip this down just a bit. I'm just a bit, my camera is, oh, this is annoying me. That's better. That's better. It was, I don't like it when it's too high up, because then you start seeing the ceiling and things. You're very welcome, Anjali. You're very, very, very welcome. Any questions? Any thoughts? Anything before I go? Because I definitely think it's you've hung out with me long enough, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. Oh, there's something I've been meaning. There's been a couple of times I've been meaning to say this, and every time I come off of live, I forget. As everybody knows, I'm on Facebook, and I would just like to put it out there publicly that if you want to get to know me better, and I mean this respectfully, please don't send me a friend request. There are two ways in which you can get to know me better, because I'm trying to keep my personal life, and I mean my family and close friends' life, um, more intimate. So because I got to the point where I had so many people on my friends list that I knew but didn't really know them particularly well, that I was stopping posting on my own personal Facebook page. It's not that I don't want to get to know new people. I would much rather get to know new people in a different environment, and then if you meet the criteria, that makes it sound awful. That's not what I mean. If it comes to the point where, okay, I'm going to be really honest. I've had people who have sent me friend requests in the past. I've accepted because they've been part of the art community, and then I don't ever really speak to them. They don't interact with me particularly much, and so it's. I would rather that people actually get to know me a little bit better first. I get to know them. I'm really wanting to avoid the people that are trying to just get my attention so that they can sell me something. I'm not suggesting that you guys here are like that, but I really don't want to be tagged in things all the time that are things for sale, or necessarily see things that I don't necessarily want to see. And some of the posts that I've been seeing on Facebook recently, I've been hiding them. And so I just wanted to get it out there into the public, that please do not take offense if you do send me a friend request and I don't respond. This is the reason why. And I really, yes, you're right, Thorny, I need to keep a safe space for myself and my family. So that is why I have stopped. I stopped doing it a long time ago now. It's been a good few years since I've just accepted random friend requests, because for that reason. And so if you want to get to know me, I have a Facebook page, which is Tart and Taz. Now that's the Tart and Taz Creates Facebook fan page. But I also have a group. So that is the Creative Tartanite Tribe, and Mona has provided throughout the chats the link to go to that Facebook page. So if you would like to get to know me, then please join, either like and follow my fan page, or join the Facebook group, and I'm more than happy to chat and get to know you, and if we become good friends, that we're always chatting, maybe on Facebook chat or whatever, if it comes to that, and a friendship has naturally occurred. I don't appreciate it being kind of orchestrated, but if it naturally occurs and that's the next progress, then that's fine. But as I said, I would just like to respectfully hold my boundaries for my own personal space, because as I said, I really don't feel that I can necessarily post the same personal private things that I used to be able to post. And I hope that makes sense, and I really hope that that hasn't offended anybody. The other way that you can contact me is actually via my PO box. Now, on most of my videos, I do actually give the PO box in the description, but it is Tartan Taz Creates, and that is PO box 26877. That is in Kirkcaldy, and the postal code is KY2, and I have it up here, 9DN. So that is the other way that I can be contacted. So that's the reasons. That's the reasons why I don't friend request. So Ian's saying, because I'm a modern admin for lots of groups, I have to be open to all, but my Facebook is only for creative art anyway. Well, I'm not sure why, Ian, because I am admin and the Creative Tartanite Tribe is my group, but I don't have to befriend everybody that's in the group. So I'm not really sure why that is. I certainly, I don't need to be friends to all. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, Ian. And yes, I think we're all entitled to our private life. So I hope that hasn't offended anybody. It's not meant as an offence. It's really just about explaining why it is that I don't just accept random friend requests. So thank you for listening, and if anybody's watching on the replay, you are absolutely fantastic for getting this far, because this is now 2 hours and 7 minutes. So I think really, unless there's any burning questions that anybody is dying to ask me at this moment in time, please do so ask. If not, you can always put the questions in the description, and in the comment section, and I will always be checking back. So thank you again, and thank you, Thorny, for joining us this evening, and thank you, Ian. Ian says, no, not to friend, but I have to be available. So some people are like herding cats. Well, I'm available in the group. You know, I've given a number of different options for people to be available, for me to be available to people. The last one is Tanya at tartantaz.com. That is my email. So there are a number of ways that people can contact me. I am not uncontactable. I am very much contactable in many, many different ways. I'm also contactable on Instagram. Now, my Instagram account is public, so I'm very contactable there. So I am at tartantaz for my Instagram, and very contactable. I am also on Twitter, and again, I'm at tartantaz. Take that out because it's automatically put it. It's not going to let me do that. Why is it not letting me do that? Right, I'm at tartantaz on Twitter. I notice at the top as well, it's put at tartantaz creates again. It's not at tartantaz creates, it's at tartantaz. But for some reason, the YouTube chat is not letting me separate it. Every time I put at, it puts the tartantaz creates at the end of it as well. So anyway, I'm also on Twitter. I don't tend to frequent on Twitter quite as much because I can't quite get my head around it. I'm not very good at it, but I do try. So I am available on Twitter. Right, Mona's saying she doesn't like Twitter. I'm I'm not sure there's very many people that I know that do. There is a very big learning curve with Twitter, and it's not as I think. Do you know what I think it is? I think we as creatives, Twitter isn't as visual a platform as any of the other platforms, and I think that's probably yeah, it's boring. I think that's probably why Twitter is not as good for us creatives, because I don't think it's as visual as any of the other platforms. Instagram is. I love Instagram. I don't have very many followers, so if you want to follow me, please do so. I think I've got about 300, around about 300 followers on Instagram. I don't have very many followers. I've got more subscribers, which incidentally, by the way, awesome sauce. I now have 929, so I am almost at the 1,000 mark. You know, the next milestone in my goals. I'm hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers. So that's awesome. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm so sorry I'm keeping you guys, but I'm really excited about this. We have now reached 100 members of the Creative Tartanite tribe. Yay! Woohoo! How awesome is that? I am so thrilled to bits. You know, if you're not already a member of the Creative Tartanite tribe, I do challenges every month. There's one at the moment going. I have created papers that if you are wanting to join in the challenge in any way, shape, or form, you can get the free papers to be able to use within your project. I'm currently working on another project at the moment for December. So with the December one, there's going to be, there's a whole load of different papers that are available to you to be able to download and print off, because I've got a bit of a journal project going on. I'm not going to say too much about it, but there will be reflective prompts going on a daily basis. You can pick and choose which prompts you want to do. You can try and do them all. You can not bother entering at all, not doing anything, just follow along, just watch. But I'm in the process of trying to, I said this last night, I think, I'm in the process of trying to actually film all the videos so that there's a video every single day. So that is what I'm currently working on at the moment. Yay! So if you're not already a member of the Creative Tartanite tribe, and that kind of gets you in the creative zone, then please join. And that's enough promoting of myself, I think. If you're feeling particularly generous, I've had some really good friends in here. So I've had Ian here. Ian also has a YouTube channel. You can always go and give Ian some love. You can just click on his name and you'll be able to go and check out his channel. And Mona also has her own channel as well. So please go and check out Mona's channel if you haven't already done so. You're very welcome. You know, credit where credit's due, guys. You know, you have just spent a good portion of your time with me tonight in this live. So I really want to give back. I receive. I like to give back out as well. So you're very welcome. And I think that's me. Thank you so very much. Mwah. Lots of creative sparkles to you guys. And remember, look after your own mental well-being, because the thing is, nobody else can. All right, you take care of yourself, guys. Bye for now. I will see you next Friday when I will be painting the winner of last night's draw, and that is Linda Harvey. I'll be painting a portrait for her. So Bye.